Hi everyone, I just want to talk to you a little bit about this note that you have probably made a copy of for yourselves because you're going to be using this for an evaluation component of this unit. So I just might give you some examples of things. What you might want to do is, as I'm doing this in your copy, you might want to add some stuff here, sort of supplement your notes, either from the examples that I might give you, or maybe examples from your own lives or people you know around you, because that might actually work better for you than my stuff. Okay, so these are 9 psychological tasks that, according to Judith Wallerstein here, will increase a couple's chance of maintaining a healthy and happy relationship. So here's some things to keep in mind um, when you're older and in serious relationships. Okay, first of all, separating emotionally from your childhood family. So this would have to do with transferring sort of your loyalties, so to speak, from and your level of sort of emotional involvement from your family of origin, which is you and your parents and or siblings, whatever that might look like for you, to the marriage relationship. And that becomes your first priority. If you're making decisions, you make them together with your spouse. You don't necessarily always find out what mom and dad might think. It's not that their input is completely useless anymore. It's just a matter of sort of prioritizing and who are you really sort of invested in the most. And it should, of course, be your spouse. Building togetherness based on mutual identifications and shared intimacy. So having a sort of a firm foundation, having some things, not necessarily everything, but some things in common. And I think this would go deeper than, well, we both love hiking. I mean, that's very convenient. You can go for a hike. But this has to do with how you want to raise your children, how you see the world. Now, some people can be the opposites in lots of really important ways and still find ways to get along. But for most of us, we kind of want to see the world in a similar fashion to our spouse. It just kind of makes life easier. This one sort of speaks for itself, but when you're using this to analyze a situation for this course, I want you to remember this second part of protecting that relationship, that sexual aspect of the relationship from the interference of workplace or family obligations. It really does have to do with making this a priority. Embracing the role of parenthood, so enjoying a child, not that it isn't stressful and a huge change, um, but it is one that is to be sort of savored and enjoyed by the couple together. Um, so mastering these crises of life. So here's a short list of crises that we would say you probably would expect in a marriage or in a long-term relationship. And here are some that I'm going to talk about shortly that are not normal. So this list are things that most married couples are going to go through. You're going to have to adjust to being married. You're likely going to have to adjust to the arrival of a child, who are then going to turn into teenagers and then going to leave you. And then you and your spouse are going to retire and you're going to grow old together. So those are sort of things that are supposed to happen. They're big things, they're tough things, but they're expected things. This list are things that are non-normative, as in not typical, and would therefore be much more difficult for a marriage to bear. So here's this list here: unemployment, infertility, illness, so a long-term illness, chronic illness, not, oh my goodness, my spouse has a cold and how on earth am I going to cope? This is, you're talking about someone who's sick, seriously sick for a number of months or years, and it's impacting other areas of your life, and infidelity or cheating. Um, these are things that not all marriages make it through. And there are other things you could put on this list, I'm sure, but those are just some possibilities. Okay, this one, maintaining the strength of the marital bond. Make sure you understand that it's also during a conflict situation. So this partly has to do with, or mostly has to do with, sort of how do you get through those moments when you don't agree? Do you yell and scream and go crazy and run out of the house and leave for 5 days, or do you work it out? Not that those are the only two options. There's lots of gray in between there. But being able to disagree in a healthy manner is crucial. Using humor and laughter, that one I think speaks for itself. This one has to do with, as some of those crises up here are happening, are you still a team? Can you help each other out? Can you lean on each other? Can you lean on the other person, and are you strong enough for them to lean on you when needed in an emotional sense? And this last one, I would say it changes over time what this romantic idealized image of falling in love looks like. Um, Early on, when there's not a whole lot of responsibilities, it can be, flowers, romantic dinners, trips, that kind of stuff. Later on, lots of people will tell you if your partner will run the vacuum or pack the diaper bag or empty the dishwasher, that can be a surprise that seems very romantic and will absolutely make your day. And it doesn't sound like much, but it ends up really being sort of the things that make or break how you're feeling about your spouse on a day-to-day basis. Okay, there you go.